Hey hon, I'm Chloe and this is the Martini or Martini Sit tutorial. My mission here is to share my passion for pole dancing and make pole dancing easy to learn and accessible. This is the 39th video of the beginner pole trick tutorial series. In order to maximize your training out of all the videos, I highly recommend you to start from the very first video of this playlist, as the tricks will be a progression of the video before. The Martini or the Martini Sit is a very pretty way to sit on the pole. We have 3 different variations of it today, so we shall break it down. This video is mirrored for your ease of learning. I'll have a red wristband on my right wrist and my right ankle to indicate the right side of my body if you do get confused of the directions. This trick tutorial is created for you for information and educational purposes only, and for you to enjoy learning pole dancing from the comfort of your own home. Please participate at your own risk and don't work beyond your capability, and seek help or spotting when necessary. For any health concerns, please make sure you seek professional medical advice. Please also make sure you warm up your body before you start this video. I have a warm-up playlist depending on your level under the playlist warm up so that you can try them before you do the tricks. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure you give it a thumbs up so that I know to create more of these kinds of videos, and consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't yet so that you are notified every single time I upload a video. If you're looking to further your pole journey in combining tricks and dance together, then consider subscribing to my online learning platform Pole Art Bowl, where we put tricks and dance together into a combo and learning an entire routine with combos and dance together. You can find the link in the description below for further information. Alrighty, without further ado, let's get into the Martini or Martini Sit tutorial. Alrighty, let's get into our conditioning. For our conditioning today, we are going to do our knee lock squats into hip thrusts. So, we are starting on the left side of the pole. Now, once you stand on the left side of the pole, making sure that your feet are directly next to it. So let's say there's an imaginary horizontal line all the way down here, making sure that your legs are just about 2 feet length away from the pole. Now, this might really depend on your anatomy, so just see how you go with this one. Now, from here, you're going to hook your inside knee pit onto the pole. So make sure that your legs are exposed. I'm sure you know the drill by now. Making sure that your knee is just hip height. Now from here, you're going to make sure that you kick your ankle all the way towards your bum so that you get all that lock into your knee pit. So making sure that the pole really hits the back of your knee. And then from here, we are going to do a little squat down to the floor. So bringing your bum down, and then you're gonna start thrusting your hip all the way forward until your hip is past this horizontal line. Now, as soon as you start hip thrusting, you should start to feel that stretch in your hip and also a lot in that booty or your glute. So making sure that you feel that engagement. So the whole entire time, making sure that you really squeeze that knee a lot with the pole. Wait, that does not make sense. Squeeze that pole with your knee pit. There we go. So making sure that you sit all the way back down, bend that outside knee, and then you're gonna hip thrust all the way. Oh, I'm really feeling that already. Now, if you're finding that it is hard for you to balance in this position, then you can grab the pole with your inside hand at shoulder height, but try not to use most of your hands. I want you to really focus on your legs because we're gonna need a lot of that knee lock today. So let's try 4 on each side for this one. Now, if you're finding it hard to grip onto the pole, make sure you apply some grip aid on the back of your knee. So if you have sweaty skin, make sure that you get something drying. If you have dry skin, then get something that's a bit more, with a bit more moisture. All right, so hooking that knee at hip height, grabbing the pole with your inside hand at shoulder height if you need to, otherwise you can do this without. So hand next to your hip. Now you're gonna start bending your outside knee, sitting your hip all the way down until your your tummy is really close to that leg, and then you're gonna hip thrust all the way. Really squeeze that ankle all the way to your bum. 3 more. Thrust. And 2. Thrust. And last one. Well done. All right, let's swap it to the other side. Oh, geez, these are killer. Whoo, I really feel it in that glute. All right, so about 2 feet away from the pole, standing on your right leg, hooking your inside knee or left knee onto the pole. Make sure it's at hip height. From there, hand next to your waist or grabbing the pole if you need to. Try not to use your hands too much. You're gonna bend your outside knee until you can sit your bum. Keep your tummy really close to that inside leg. Thrust your hip all the way. And sit back down. 3. Sit down. 2. Sit back down. And last one. Well done. There is your conditioning done. Alrighty, let's get into our Martini or Martini Sit. Now for our Martini or Martini Sit today, we are going to try 3 different variations. 2 leg variations, and with one of the leg variations, we are going to try 2 different poses. So this is what a Martini or Martini Sit looks like. First leg variation. Second leg. And third. All right, so let's break down our first variation. So with our Martini, let's just start from our entry. Now with our entry, we are going to hook our inside knee pit onto the pole. Now when you're hooking your inside knee pit, in terms of your leg positioning, I want you to make sure that you hook it at hip height or a little higher if you can. Now, this is really going to depend on your hip flexibility and also how much you can bring your leg up. So again, just adjust accordingly. If you need to just hook it around hip height, and if you can, totally fine. If you can hook it even higher, then your entry will be slightly easier because you don't have to bend your outside knee. Now, let's say I hook it at hip height. Now from there, you're going to start bending your outside knee and then squatting a little further down. Now when you're squatting down, making sure that your chest is very close to your inside leg. So same chest, so inside chest, inside leg close to it. So if I'm starting on the left side of the pole, right chest, right knee. From there, I'm gonna get my right elbow onto the pole. Now this is gonna be a very interesting thing, new grip, if you have been following the beginner pole trick tutorial series. So hooking your elbow onto the pole, making sure that your knee and elbow is very close. Now when you're hooking it, making sure that you turn your palm towards you. So think about almost pushing your chest with that palm, and then you're gonna lock it down. Now from there, you're gonna start sitting your bum down, leaning into your chest. Outside hand comes onto the pole above your head. Now from there, you're gonna grab your knee. So you're lifting your outside leg up, grabbing the back of your knee, extending that leg, and there you have it. There is your Martini Sit. To come out, grab the outside hand back up, extend back your outside leg down, and then unhooking both your elbow and your knee. Well done. Let's try it on the other side. All right, standing right next to the pole on the right side, hooking your inside knee pit onto the pole, elbow comes on, making sure that you start bending your outside knee so that your chest is very close. Outside hand comes nice and high up. From there, make sure you sit your bum all the way down so that your chest and knee is very close. You're gonna start lifting your outside leg up, extend. Grab the back of your knee, so palm over it. And there is your Martini on the other side. To come out, outside hand back, and coming out. Well done. There's your first variation. Now let's try our second leg variation, but two different poses. So we're gonna try our both bent legs, but one with opening chest out to the side and one where you're tucking your hands or ducking your head down into a little ball. So, trying this together, again, hook your knee nice and high if you can, otherwise you can just bring your knee around just hip height. You're gonna sit your bum down, bending your outside knee, chest to leg. Elbow comes right above your knee, outside hand above. Sit your bum down, leaning into that pole, and then bringing your outside leg up. Now grab the back of your knee, and then cross your legs together. You can either cross your ankle or not cross it, either or, they both work. I'm just gonna cross them. And then taking it outside and off, and then into your martini. So from here, you can open your chest out and also grab your other shin, so opposite shin, and then you can come into a tuck as well. Beautiful. Outside hand back on, stepping out with your outside leg and unhooking. Beautiful, good, well done. All right, let's try the two other variations on the other side as well. Hooking your inside knee pit onto the pole. Inside elbow comes on, sitting your outside knee or bending your outside knee. Outside hand comes above. Chest to knee, leaning into the pole. Grab your outside knee with your inside hand. Ankles together or out, either or, hand out. And then grab your shin. Outside hand back on. And coming out. Well done. So there is your three variations of Martini Sit done. I know, that might have hurt your elbow slightly, just a little. You'll be fine. And it will hurt less the more you do it. Well done. Alrighty, let's go through some tips and common mistakes. Common mistake number one is your knee hook. Now, in terms of your knee hook, this is very, very crucial, making sure that you get right into that knee pit. Now, if you don't have knee grip, this is gonna be very hard. So make sure that when you're hooking your knee pit onto the pole, that you bring your ankle all the way towards your bum. So, in terms of your leg position, again, as I mentioned, you always wanna make sure that your knee is just around hip height, or if you can bring it higher, things are a little easier because then you don't have to sit your bum down too much because your leg is really close to it. And this is gonna really depend on your mobility of your legs. So just see how you go. And if you're able to bring your knee up a little higher, that means that you're gonna end up in a higher Martini Sit up the pole. So really gonna depend on if you wanna do it a little lower or higher. And again, also depending on your hip mobility as well. Now, in terms of grip, you're gonna need obviously your elbow grip, the back of your knee, and it's once you sit your bum down, it's slightly on your bum and the back of your thighs. So making sure that all that part of your legs are exposed. So if you have any sort of shorts that you're wearing that ride a little lower, so lower up down your thighs, then you want to make sure that you tuck it all the way up. So this is the reason why us pole dancers are wearing shorts like this. This is great. So make sure that you tuck it all the way up so that you've got your bum cheek grip as well. Now, other thing I just want to talk about is hand grip. Now, just because with our hand grip, we will use it slightly, and also elbow grip as well, which is a interesting way to grip onto the pole, I should say. I actually personally love elbow grips. You want to make sure that you've got enough grip on your hands, your whole entire body. So if you have dry skin, make sure that you have a bit of moisture that you need for your hands or maybe your legs. If you have really sweaty skin, you want something that's a bit more drying. Now, I have really dry legs and body, but I have sweaty hands. So I use something drying for my hands and I use something a bit more moist for my body. So all the products I use are in the link in the description. I'm not sponsored for any of the products, but these are just for your own benefit. But in terms of your own grip, just make sure you do a bit of research, and then it'll help you a lot with gripping onto the pole a little better. Now, let's also talk about our positioning of our body in our martini. Now, when you're coming into a martini, most commonly I see people leaning away from the pole. If you lean away from the pole, this is going to be very tricky for you to come into the right position, and also the further away you are from the pole, the more you need to use your hand grip, or I should say your leg grip, any sort of grip. So make sure that you keep your chest very close to the pole, and then your martini sit will be much easier to come into. So again, making sure that your kneecap and your chest is very close, and that way you can come into the right position in your martini sit. Now, other thing I want to talk about is your hand positioning. If you have your hand very high or even your elbow high, you are going to struggle to grab your leg, because that means you have to kick your leg way higher. So make sure that your elbow is positioned very, very close to your knee. So just above your knee is a perfect spot for you to grab your leg, or I should say your kneecap. Now, let's just talk about how to grab the back of your knee or your kneecap. So, once you get your elbow onto the pole, making sure that you grab it so that your palm is facing down, and then grabbing over your knee. So rather than palm facing up and grabbing underneath, you want to grab it over your knee, and then almost utilize that little bone that's bulging out of the back of your knee for that hand sort of like hooking into it. And that's going to help you with your grip, and then grabbing right into that right spot. Now, in terms of your leg positioning of your outside leg, you want to make sure that it is slightly lower than that hooked leg. So rather than your knees together, try to bring it a little bit lower, and that way it's actually much easier to grip as well. So if you can bring it a little further away from you and then grab right into that back of your knee, you will get all that optimal grip you need, and then it'll be much easier for you to come into your martini sit or martini as well. Lastly, let's talk about our outside leg bend. Now, if you start from this position and then you try to pull yourself into it, and then without bending the outside leg, this is what's going to happen. You're not able to sit your bum down so that the back of your thigh is on the pole. Now, again, ultimately, when you're coming into a martini sit, you want to make sure that the back of your thigh and then very close to your butt cheek is on the pole. So once you come into a knee hook, bending that outside leg is going to be very crucial for you to be able to get the back of your thigh on the pole. So make sure that you don't just straighten your outside leg and then pull yourself up into it, or else you won't be able to come into the right position in your martini, and it'll be much harder for you as well. It's harder to pull. You don't want to use that much energy. I mean, maybe you do, but you'd rather come into the right position. Now, those were all the tips and common mistakes I wanted to go through. Now, a little, not really a mindset tip, but a little tip for you today. These pole dancing heels. Now, this is obviously totally optional. It's not for everyone. Not everyone likes this type of style, because I'm very aware that with pole dancing, there's so many different styles. There's sort of like more your lyrical contemporary style where you like where your toes are sort of exposed and then just using those pretty lines. And also you have the type of pole dancing that you might have seen where you wear your heels and dance with your heels. And these are total different styles. They both are valid and I love both of them. However, this is a little tip for you if you want to start wearing your heels. Now, when you're wearing your heels, there are so many different brands out there. I'm not endorsed for any of sort of like the heels, but just little recommendation for you. Now, if you do want to invest into or start wearing heels while you do any of the beginner pole trick tutorial series, you are obviously more than welcome to do so. And if you already have been, then absolutely amazing. Now, in terms of heels, you can obviously wear any heels you want to. There's no set sort of heels or standard that you have to wear. But commonly, what pole dancers wear are heels from brands like Pleasers, Hella Heels, Chair Boots. There are a lot of sort of heels or pole dancing heels that people wear. Now, I usually wear Pleaser heels. They have been around for a very long time. They're very, probably the most reputable brand out there at this given moment. Now, let's just talk different styles. So, these are called stilettos or sandals, and these are clear straps. So, I would probably recommend starting with either 6-inch or 7-inch heels. There's also boots as well that are optional. I would say if you have weak ankles, or if you've never worn heels, or if you feel like you're a bit scared to wear heels, then I would start off in boots. Having said that, personally, I would start with sandals. The reason why is because once you start wearing boots, it is very hard to start working on ankle stability and also to train your ankle stability as well. And that's the reason why I usually say if you are somewhat comfortable trying to wear heels, or if you want to challenge yourself, then to wear sandals unless you have some sort of ankle injury, weak ankles and whatnot. Now, in terms of the style, for sandals, I would recommend these clear straps. There are the ones where the whole entire sort of the bridge of your foot, like this part, and then like the straps are in color. However, those ones I find that you can probably tell the difference if you see them closely, but the strap is a little thinner. So make sure that you find the ones with the clear strap sort of strength, or I should say the thickness, and these ones are a bit more sort of, it'll fit you better. It also molds into your foot a little better as well, and over time it won't stretch out as much as the thinner straps. Now, other thing is when you're finding your size, and if you feel like your bridge of your foot is slightly higher, or I guess like this part is a bit more arched, then I would recommend you to use a hair dryer to use something that would like warm up this part of the, what do you call it? This material, there you go, and stretch it out. So there's your option in terms of how to stretch out and how to wear them. So if you want to start wearing them, go ahead. I might also upload a tutorial so that you can start working on ankle stability and work on conditioning your ankles so that you can start walking around them. Make sure that if you're walking on carpet that you are very careful, because some carpet, very fluffy, super hard to walk on. And also please make sure you start walking around the pole, using the pole. Just condition yourself walking around and then start doing tricks as well. So these are little tips for you today. Hopefully that's helpful. I might do another tutorial on like a full sort of pleaser or pole dancing heel recommendation as well. Thank you so much for joining me in the Martini or the Martini Sit tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it, and I shall see you in the very next tutorial. Bye! Please, no, for any health concerns. And my right hand, cool. Jeez, no, let me do that again.